Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to get into the word this morning. You know, the book of Job can really teach us a lot of things. There's a lot of stories that you can pull out, a lot of life experiences you can pull out of this to what happened to Job. And I would like to get more into Job later, but I just want to really speak. When God spoke to me when I was reading this and preparing my message for Uncle James' message, God really spoke to me and it was really, really heavy. And I learned really a lot about Job. And it was it was eye-opening on how God thinks and sees and just a small perspective, because we'll really never understand everything the way he thinks and the way he does things and how he has things prepared for us. But we do know that he starts from the end and works his way back to the beginning. So when we're going through something, we might not understand it, but we know he laid out the tools for us to be successful. And that's what Job went through. Job went through a mass storm of something he didn't even do or to deserve. Like, this was the Old Testament. So when you would sin or do something wrong, there would be consequences. And in his story, he didn't do anything wrong at all. And I just wanted to tell you, there's some things in life that we're gonna go through that we just don't understand. There's things that we won't understand until we get to heaven, and that we can find out and wonder why. And I'm assuming that's what happened with Job. He found out when he got to heaven, but he never found out why he was on earth. You know, he lost his family, he lost his home, his money, his livestock. He lost everything in just a matter of really just a very short period. And it was just something that God had to prove. And he knew that the enemy wanted to test, and he knew how well Job was. He knew Job better than probably Job knew himself. And, you know, Job came through. But in the time of what he was going through, Job really asked, he finally got to a breaking point of, he lost his family, everyone but his wife, his servants, his money, his livestock. He was losing his health. He was just getting sick. I mean, he got so sick and so many sores around him that his friends couldn't even know who he was when they looked at him. But what really got me was, in Job, God really shows a little bit of his wisdom and how he looks at things. And I can tell you, when I was reading this, God really came over me. It was really powerful. And it was heavy because I knew it was him. He really wanted me to get this and understand. And I just want to read a little bit of it with you guys. At this point, Job's questioning. He's finally getting to a breaking point of why. What did I do? What's going on? This is lasting so long. So then the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind. Who is this that questions my wisdom with such ignorant words? Brace yourself, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me, if you know so much, do you know how the dimensions were determined and who did the surveying? What supports its foundation and who laid its concrete, as the morning stars sang together with all the angels shouted for joy? Who defined the boundaries of the seas as it burst from the womb, and as I clothed it with clouds and thick darkness? For I locked it behind barred gates, limiting its shores. I said, thus far and no further will you come. Here your proud waves must stop. Have you ever commanded the morning to appear and caused the dawn to rise in the east? Have you ever told the daylight to spread to the ends of the earth, to bring an end in the night's wickedness? For the features of the earth take shape as the light approaches, and the dawn is robed in red. The light disturbs the haunts of the wicked, and it stops the arm that it was raised in violence. Have you explored the springs from which the seas come? Have you walked about and explored their depths? Do you know where the gates of death are located? Have you seen the gates of the utter gloom? Do you realize the extent of the earth? Tell me about it if you know. Where does the light come from? And where does the darkness go? Come, can you take it? Can you take it to its home? Do you know how to get there? But of course you know all of this, for you were born before it was created, and you were very experienced. Have you visited the treasuries of the snow? Have you seen where the hail is made and stored? I have reserved it for the time of trouble, for the day of the battle and the war. Where's the path of the origin of light? Where's the home from the east winds? Who created the channels for the torrents of rain? Who laid out the path for lightning? Who makes the rain fall barren land in the desert where no one lives? Who sends the rain that satisfies the parched grounds and makes the tender grass spring up? Does the rain have a father? Where does dew come from? Who is the mother of the ice? Who gives birth to the frost from the heavens? For the water turns ice as hard as rock, and the surface of the water freezes. Can you hold back the movements of the stars? Are you able to restrain the Pleiades or the Orion? Can you ensure the proper sequence of the seasons or guide the constellation of the bear with her cubs across heaven? Do you know the laws of the universe and how God rules the earth? Now, this continues to go on. So this is Job 38, 1 through 40, or excuse me, 1 through 30. And this is actually goes even further than that. It's pretty good. It's Job 39, 40, 41, 42. And this is just God speaking to Job, and I encourage you to read it because there's actually a lot more in depth that he goes. And what I wanted to tell you this morning was, if God is so detailed about everything he's done and created, little things, he even talks about the birds being fed. I mean, just what I was reading about the rain, the lightning, the waves, and just the dimensions of the earth, he's very detailed. So if he's very detailed in just creating the world, how detailed is he in your life? How detailed is he expecting in your life? Because God has nothing but good things for you. The thing is, we get in the way and we basically fall off track because we want to do it our way, and that we fall out of trust with God. The thing about Job is he stayed true. And this was the first time Job actually got to speak to God and see God. Now, he prayed, but he actually got to speak and have a conversation with the Father. And the biggest thing about this is Job never fell off track. He never cursed God. And that's what the devil wanted him to do. He wanted him to curse him and say, this is God's fault. This is all him. And the devil was for sure that he was going to do it. But God already knew his child, and he knew he wasn't going to do that. So if you have fallen stray, or if you've abandoned your faith, or you've just got off track, I promise you, your life is more detailed than that. God has more details for you than you even know. You just have to trust him and stay the path. Get in the word, read the word, let him tell you exactly how he sees you and how much he loves you and how much he has prepared for you. Read this story. I'm going to tell you how detailed, and I guarantee you it's just a small portion of how detailed God really, really is, but he's very detailed talking to Job and just about the world. But I just think if he's that detailed about creating life and creating the world and creating everything that nature has for us and just everything good in this world, imagine how good and detailed he has your life prepared for. You just have to trust him. Read. Listen, open it. When you're reading, put yourself in the Bible. Put yourself into it so you can be stronger and get really, really close to God. Because God and Job were very close, and this just made him closer. Just remember, there's so many things that we're going to go through life that we're just not going to understand. Heaven has different plans going on, that there's just a battle going on, and God is just proving and using you because he trusts you, and he knows what you're capable of, and he knows how strong you are. He knows how detailed you are in the depths of the pain and the depths of the trouble sometimes that we go through, but he knows how strong you are, and he'll never put you through something that you can't handle. Just ask Job and read about Job. So whatever you're going through today, don't give up. I encourage you to keep going. Job kept going. Just lean on God, trust him, and just understand how detailed he is about you and your life and your plans for your life.